in the deflategate case is expected any moment. Meanwhile, how will that impact your fantasy team? We bring in Fantasy Sports Network Chief Strategy Officer Lou Maione and RotoExperts.com Senior Fantasy Sports Analyst Mike Cardano. Good to see you both. Thank you so much for joining us. Mike, how big of an impact is this Tom Brady case on fantasy football?
Well, right now, he's about the 10th quarterback being taken in drafts on average. So if the suspension gets wiped clean, he'll probably move up maybe 4 or 5 spots. He's not going to move up to 1 or 2. If it gets cut in half to 2, he'll probably move up maybe 2 spots. But the ancillary receivers, the wide receivers, not Gronkowski, he's going to be the security blanket for Garoppolo no matter what.
So the backup drafts are getting deeper in the leagues.
Well, it's the wide
backup,
receivers.
Brady's backup.
Well, he's going to be where he is now,
okay.
but the wide receivers, they're going to get a bump up if his suspension gets reduced.
Well, the interesting thing, too, is it's almost like Brady has nowhere to go but up at this point, right? I mean, if they get it reduced, that'll be a good value at 10. I've seen him go as low as outside the top 12, believe it or not, because that 4-game suspension, if it gets held up, players don't want to have a guy sitting on the bench for 4 games when they should be playing maybe Ben Roethlisberger or somebody else.
That's right.
Do you have a draft, Dominic?
No, I don't really play this, but I'm amused at how many people actually play this and how many people are involved, how many people know the lineups on this, and I dare ask, how many people you think know their lineup in their 401k?
Lou, what do you think?
Yeah, I think fantasy now, with 57 million people playing, and in the next few years it's reported to go to 100 million, I would say there's more people that know about fantasy.
If they gave it that dedication, the fantasy football dedication to their 401ks or their investment accounts, could you imagine how well we'd be doing?
So how often does somebody trade a player?
So, in the season-long leagues, it's, every week people are trading, but, what's great is the daily fantasy and, DraftKings, for instance, you can play every night. You can pick your players. You can have multiple different player and teams each and every night. And that's what I think is really exciting because that's good for our network, right? The content. We want people coming to the TV network as well as our websites and listening to the audio every single day.
You may be the only guy not playing.
Listen, statistically, right? So just one little tiny statistic here. 8% of all 401k participants have made a single investment change in the last decade.
Wow.
And we have 50 million people looking at this thing, making a trade a week.
Going on picking up players,
They don't see it as their money, though. It's like, that's
right.
not my nest egg.
They might want to.
Yeah, people are making a living out of this. So, if you see some of the daily players playing each and every day, they're making a living doing it, and that's why the research is important, right? The content is important. The content marketing to these platforms, very important because it brings down the acquisition cost, and it also allows people to turn and continue to play each and every day.
Those daily leagues have really blown up, like in a good way. I mean, the cool thing I think about them is when you join a fantasy league, the tough part is it's kind of a league-long commitment in the sense of you got to go all the way through the NFL in 16 weeks or 17 weeks, I guess it is, to play that out in most cases, right? But in the daily leagues, or like the FanDuel or DraftKings, you can take weeks off, which is kind of nice, right? You go out of town for a weekend, you're busy one weekend, you don't have to draft a team, and you can skip a week and then you can join in again the next week, which I think is nice. It offers some flexibility.
And there's a gambling component to this, right?
There is?
No, forget the money aspects.
Yes.
The most fun part of fantasy sports is draft day. That's what people look forward to. And with daily fantasy, you get to draft every single week. So forget the fact that you can win money. That's the part that really grabs people. Every week, if your player is hurt, you can draft a new roster.
And you can get that guy you want. Like, let's say somebody blows up
it's
last
based
week.
On a salary
Guess
cap.
what? You can go after him and get him for the next week, and not have to pull off a crazy trade for him in a league-long, fantasy league. I mean, that's nice.
Gut feeling, is Brady in uniform next Thursday night?
Oh boy.
What do you think,
Mike?
I say no.
You don't think he doesn't participate?
No, they have a collective bargaining agreement. The ruling is what it is.
Stays.
I think the suspension gets reduced.
You do?
To 2
what?
games.
Yeah.
I think they cut it in half.
Scott. Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
they compromise.
Whatever it is, somebody's
100%.
going to appeal.
Exactly. So he plays next week.
Listen, at the end
So
of
you
the
think
day,
he plays next
Yeah,
week?
he's going to get whoever wins. The other one's going to appeal, so that he plays next week.
I think since it's been collectively bargained, I don't even know that the judge has the right to rule. He's been trying to get him to compromise because I think he doesn't want to rule.
Yeah. Bottom line, Lo, you got
bottom line, I think it's a 2-game suspension. I think he does play next week. I think you can't leave out Mr. Brady. I mean, the guy is
as a
a
Jet
hero.
fan, I'd
He's
love
a hero.
to see it, but no.
Well, same with me. I'm a Jet fan, but at the end of the day, this is about money. This is about sports. This is what's good for the people, and he needs to be out there playing.
Thursday night football. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's very PC of you. All right.
Thank you,
Lou
Maria.
Maione, Mike Cardano, good to have you. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
gentlemen.
Nice.
We'll
Thank
see
you,
you soon.